Hey, how you doing there again, folks? Me again, of course, Brandon Wenzel. Come back at you, another offering off my sampler platter. Yes, indeed, folks, sampler review series videos I do for a little while. I'll go over there, try out food and drink items. I eat stuff, I drink stuff. Then, folks, I'm going to talk about stuff. I'm going to let you know all that you need to know about hopefully delicious stuff. That time I'm doing this, folks, I'm not going to lie. I mean, they're just rolling out the Christmas stuff as early as possible these days. I might as well get in on it. Right. Let's do it. But anyway, folks, it's a super simple format. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to try out food and or drink items for you. Whilst I'm doing so, I'm going to yammer on about for a bit. Whilst I'm doing all that, I'm inside my truck. And whilst I'm doing that, folks, I'm wearing a super cool shirt. Folks, when I wear super cool shirts, I always like to highlight the super cool shirt. Super cool shirt am I wearing today? Well, folks, it's my Outrun the Sunlight shirt of the long sleeve variety. I don't like long sleeve shirts. I'm not a fan. But I do really like this shirt. Like, I love the design, and the band behind it is even better. They are actually a local Chicago band who they opened up a show I was at just several days back. It was Arch Echo, Stellar Circuits, who were the band that I was really there to see the most, and then these guys opened up the show. And every single one was fantastic. These guys, they're a progressive instrumental band. You know, they got some heaviness going on, lots of really great artistry and musicianship on display. Like, I really dug their thing, man. After their set, I went over there, I talked a little bit with their bassist and their lead singer. Extremely cool guys. Hopefully, I'll get to see them again, because despite being a local band and despite me going to a lot of shows, I just hadn't seen them before. But they really impressed me. So much so that not only did I get a shirt and a CD, I also went over there and I took some videos of their performance. It's also on my channel, just in case you're interested. You want to go over there and check those out. I got a couple videos. But anyway, what am I reviewing for you folks? What are we doing? Why is it the holiday, the Christmas, the thing? Well, folks, because we're reviewing, boom, it is from Starbucks. This is their brand new Caramel Brulée Latte of the iced variety. Because they're like, do you want it hot or do you want it iced? No, I wanted it iced, and yes, I wanted it with the whipped cream. Ooh, But yes, this is one of their like holiday line things that they just came out. I am doing something wrong. Because every time, I don't go to Starbucks a lot. Typically, it's just when I'm reviewing one of these things. I say grande, and then I get this cup. But there's definitely bigger cups available. Is grande not the biggest? I thought grande was the biggest. But that just shows you how little I know about Starbucks and their whole thing. But anyway, let's try a drink. Okay, it's not bad. It's not as impressive as I was hoping. I have to admit, it was one of those things where like I saw what my brain wanted to see. When I saw Brulée, I initially thought it was a creme brulee latte, and I was like, oh, that sounds really interesting. Then I saw, oh, it's creme brulee, or caramel brulee. Okay, so it doesn't taste like creme brulee, but does it have a caramel taste? Yes, it does have a caramel taste, to be sure. But if I'm entirely honest with you, it's mostly just a fairly standard latte from Starbucks. Sorry, I'm doing this in a parking lot, and so occasionally people walk by, despite the fact that I park nowhere near anybody. So like every now and again, it detaches my attention for a moment. Yeah, it's honestly like it's not a bad drink at all. But it's very okay. I honestly feel like this is something where I probably could have got it from Dunkin' Donuts, and it would have been just as good. And, you know, I review a lot more stuff from Dunkin' Donuts than I do from Starbucks. Typically, they cost a little bit less, to be fair. And then on top of that, you know, it's like, well, you know, they have donuts and stuff. And you know, Starbucks has their stuff, too. I mean, it's okay. You know what, I'll say this. I think if I did get it from Dunkin' Donuts, I think it would be a little bit sweeter and a little bit less coffee forward. In this regard, I think that that's kind of where they might, you know, if that's what you're looking for, I think Starbucks might have an edge in that regard. Because there's obviously still a little sweetness to it, but even like the caramel aspect of it, it's almost like a little bit of like a burnt caramel kind of aspect. So it's got sort of a sweet bitterness to it. But that's the thing. It's like really beyond the caramel aspect, or caramel, however you want to pronounce it. I go back and forth. I don't care. Really beyond that, it's fairly generic. Like, I'm genuinely pretty disappointed that this is, one of their holiday offerings. They had a few other ones, but this was the one that I was immediately the most attracted to. Again, because originally I thought it said creme brulee. It's perfectly okay. It's a decent enough Starbucks drink. I don't mind it. I don't love it. I don't think it's particularly unique or fantastic. And I'm sure that I probably paid more than I would have liked to for it. I'll say this much. I can appreciate the fact that I didn't get the bigger size now, because although it's not a bad drink and I'll certainly finish it, it's definitely nothing I needed a lot more of. Yeah, it's just very It's very I think if it had been creme brulee, I think if they'd managed to, work that in there, and seeing it, say what you want, Dunkin' Donuts / Baskin Robbins, several years ago, one of their ice cream flavors, it was their flavor of the month, was a creme brulee ice cream. So they made it work in ice cream. I don't see why Starbucks can't make it work in coffee. Because just as is, like I said, it's just a caramel flavor, sort of semi-sweet. The coffee aspect of it is fine. I'm not the biggest coffee person in the world. Like, you need to jam it full of shit that makes it not taste like coffee. It works for me, but yeah. Now, all that said, 2 questions have to be asked. Would I get it again? Would I recommend it? No and no. It's one of those things where, again, it's not a bad drink, but I think if you're going to go in for one of the holiday flavors, probably any other one would be more interesting and enjoyable. I mean, it depends, it's person to person, obviously. But for me, it's like, it's just a, fucking caramel latte. Like, there's really nothing else to it. Maybe, like I said, maybe there's a little bit of a burnt taste to it to give it a little extra sort of bitterness. And I mean, that does create sort of a contrasting flavor thing to a certain extent, and I like contrasting flavors. But then you also have sort of like the bitterness of the coffee, which is still there. It's just not as evident because obviously all the crap in it. Yeah, it's nothing special. And I just, for me, I know I wouldn't get it again. If I'm recommending it to people, I think that there's going to be people like me who see it, it's it's a limited time item, and then on top of that, it's the holiday. Let's be wacky. Let's indulge ourselves. You're not indulging yourself with this one. It's very generic. So, fucking horse by any other name is still a horse. A fucking caramel latte by any other name is a caramel latte. That's all this is. Anyway, 5 things before I get out of here. Have yourself a great rest of your day, spectacular rest of the week, monumental rest of the month, tremendous rest of your folks. You go over there, have yourselves a truly creme brulee-tastic rest of your life. Because a proper creme brulee is really good. I actually used to work at a bakery back when I was so much younger, almost 20 years ago now. I'm fading away and dying. But it was like a proper little bakery and stuff, and we sold creme brulees. They were bought in. People would go over there, because it was a little bit of a fancy supermarket, and we would get, fancy people, and they'd go over there and they'd, get, a bunch of tiramisu and a bunch of creme brulee, and it's like, that shit just comes in cases in the back. I mean, it wasn't bad, it tasted perfectly fine, but, if they were expecting they were getting, super fancy, freshly made, they fucking were not. Granted, a lot of our stuff was made in-house. We had, cake makers, and we actually had, a really good pastry chef, but certain things, it's no, they weren't gonna fucking go over there and make creme brulees and stuff, so. But I have had, creme brulee at a fancy restaurant at one point in time, years ago, probably around the same time when I was working at the bakery. Anyway, I'm yammering on. But anyway, final 2 things, folks. Number 1, try to bring some positivity to the world. It's not always possible. It is, however, always appreciated. But what you do if you can't do all the time, I know I can't do all the time. Here's what you gotta do, folks. You're gonna try not to be an asshole. Folks, it's not always the easiest thing in the world to not be an asshole. Okay? Trust me, I know it. I live it. I'm out there with you in it. If you can hear right now, there's some fucking idiot. Oh, look, they finally did it. Why was your fucking why was your horn going off for that long? Why? Why did you let that happen, person? Why wouldn't you just turn off your horn as soon as it started doing it? I don't know. Take a step back, try to mitigate the level of assholishness in our lives, hopefully do better for ourselves and for those around us. Very final thing, folks, do the thing. Whatever the thing is for you, that's what I want you to go out and do. folks, maybe you're going to go out to Starbucks. Maybe you're going to try out one of their numerous other holiday season fucking drinks. And then you go over there, maybe you hit me up in the comments, you're like, Brandon, I tried this one, and blah, 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 and it tasted like this, and blah, 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 blah. I'll be like, well, that's really cool. Thank you for letting me know that. I appreciate it. Hey, by the way, you did a fine job of, describing it and whatnot and everything. Maybe I'd like to encourage you to go over there and maybe start up your own YouTube channel. Or it doesn't even have to be a YouTube channel. You can do a food blog. You can do all kinds of things. Because at the end of the day, folks, hey, I'm not trying to go over there and bogart this whole fucking thing. There are so many people who do this way better than I do. So I'm always going to go over there and try to hype up anybody else who wants to get started on it. I have actually had a couple people go over there and ask me, like, what is it, what did you do to start up your channel? And it's like, I started up my channel 11 years ago, originally doing just shitty kung fu movie reviews. They're still on the channel, by the way, if you happen to be interested. They're cringy now. But, and that was just me with a tablet in my front room. I don't do any editing. I put in very little effort. I mean, I put in effort, to be fair, but, it doesn't take that much, folks, if you just want to go over there and get content out there. And then after that, it's just trying to find your voice, trying to find your personality a little bit on screen. And I like to think that I've done that pretty well as time has gone by. My first year or so of doing reviews, though, mind you, I'll probably think that about these in 3 years. Anyway, bye!